For this installation, you will need an M4 key, scissors, a squeegee, and an X-Acto or craft knife. Hello everyone, so the first thing you want to do when applying your vinyl artwork is you want to cut out each panel from the larger printout so that you have each panel individually. Now when you're doing this, you definitely want to be careful that you don't cut out any of the actual artwork itself. You want to make 100% sure when you're making your cuts that you're cutting around the artwork. You want to go ahead and clean the surface of each panel before applying the artwork so that there's no debris that might show through on the vinyl. And we're using a surface cleaner here, something light. So this is a natural cleaner that we purchased at Home Depot. We also recommend dusting the back of the artwork because when you flip it around and put it on top of your wood panel, if there's any debris on there, it's just going to get all over the panel that you just cleaned. Okay, so now that everything is nice and clean, you can go ahead and lay the artwork over the top of whichever panel you're applying it to. And then you want to go ahead and peel back a little bit of the actual vinyl. It's like a big sticker really. So you want to peel a little bit of it back, and then you want to go ahead and cut off the backing. Now we did peel back a little bit too much here. I would peel back less than this normally. All you're doing here is you're aligning that initial piece of the vinyl with the top there so that everything is where it needs to be, and then the rest of the vinyl should go down in the right place. Now for this example, we left the bolts on the cabinet, but we do recommend that you remove them and then just align the holes on the vinyl to the holes of the actual bolts on each of the cabinet panels. The key here is to make sure that that initial vinyl is aligned properly, because then the rest of it will follow and will also be aligned properly as well. You want to make sure that this initial part here is nice and flat, and you can help it along with your thumbs at first just to get those little edges right where they need to be, but we're going to be using a squeegee to get it all properly installed. And as you can see here, if you find that it's not completely flat, you can peel it back up. Just try to go slow, and you don't want to stretch out the vinyl. But you can see here that I had to kind of reposition it a bit because it wasn't exactly where I wanted it to be. So I'm just peeling it back, getting it to where it needs to be, and then we're going to go ahead and use a squeegee to actually finish the installation off. So you're going to use the squeegee to work out any bubbles on this initial part of the vinyl here that we laid down, and then we're going to go ahead and start to peel back the backing. And as you peel the backing, you're going to use the squeegee to flatten out the vinyl. So we're just going to go ahead and just squeegee it as you pull back the backing and work out any bubbles. And if you make a mistake, just lightly raise the vinyl, put it back down, and just continue until the entire backing is off. The die cut holes are not always 100% perfect, so on this bottom one here, the vinyl is overlapping with the bolt a little bit. So we're going to remove the bolt and then flatten out the vinyl, and then reinstall the bolt with very light pressure so that you don't ruin the vinyl. Now this is the other side panel, and notice that on this one we did remove the bolts before applying the artwork. And what I want to show you here is that on the bottom there we had a little bit of excess on this one. So we're going to use an X-Acto knife, a craft knife, and we're going to go ahead and trim off that excess. And this is very easy to do. You just use the edge of the cabinet as your guide, and you just slide the knife right along all the way nice and smooth, and the excess will come right off. And then for every other panel, you're going to do the exact same process. We're going to clean the panel off, and then we're going to go ahead and clean the backing of the actual vinyl, and then we're going to go ahead and apply the vinyl same exact way. And these front panels, square panels, are very easy because they're very small and they're square, so they're very easy to line up. So we went ahead and cut a very small part of the backing off there. Now we're aligning that little piece of vinyl with the edges, and then we're just going to go ahead and start removing the backing and squeegeeing it down as we remove it. And we're just going to go ahead and show one more example here. We already cleaned the surface of the cabinet and dusted off the back of the vinyl. And once again, we're going to peel back a little bit of the vinyl. We're going to cut off the backing, and we're going to align that piece of vinyl with the cabinet holes. And you want to get that piece nice and smooth. And then we're going to start to flip over the vinyl and then grab a piece of the backing, peel it back, and then slowly start to peel it back as we work the vinyl nice and flat with the squeegee. The same process as every other panel. This is the biggest panel, so you want to go extra slow on this one. And you know, again, if you make any mistakes, if you start to see a bubble that is too big and you can't get out with the squeegee, then just kind of slowly lift the panel and lay it back down, and then keep on squeegeeing until you get to the very end. And once again, we had a little bit of excess on this panel, so we're going to use the X-Acto knife and just slide it right along the edge of the panel until that little bit of excess comes right off. And finally, remember not to put too much pressure when you're tightening each bolt. That way, if some of the artwork happens to be underneath the bolt, you're not going to damage it. And here's the final product. Now remember that the control panel artwork and the marquee already come installed for you, so you're only going to be installing the side panels and the front panels. And that is going to do it for this video. We will see you guys next time.